Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and this is a coffee chat, the first one I'm doing in my new house. So you are joining me in my bedroom. This is my little reading nook. I am absolutely obsessed with this chair and I wanted to do a coffee chat just to catch up with you guys. So on social media, I asked you to ask me any questions that you had and I got a lot. I got over 1,000 questions across all social media platforms. So I went through all of them and I noticed that there were kind of 4 different themes and topics that came up. So I'm going to do this as a 4-part coffee chat video series. This is the first video and these are all like the personal questions. So things that aren't really yoga related. You guys just wanted to know about me and about my life. So that's what I'm going to go over today. And then the next video is going to be very yoga specific. So all of your yoga questions answered. Then there was another theme. So the third video is going to be all about teaching online and teaching in person. So really great for yoga teachers out there looking for advice, feedback, resources, stuff like that. And then the final video, highly requested, probably more than any other video I've ever made or will ever make. And this is about my diet, my exercise routine, body image, all of that stuff. And if you followed me for a while or watched other coffee chats I've done, I've touched a little bit on how I feel when it comes to yoga, weight loss, talking about food, all that stuff. But I do think it needs to have its own video because the questions come up all the time. So stay tuned for that. I have all of my questions that you guys submitted for this first part, like all my personal questions. I'm gonna go through them. Okay, first question was, tell me about your new house. How are you settling in? So we moved in on October 1st. So it's been about a month that we're here and it's going really well. It's a huge change of pace for us. So we moved out to the country. We're about 30 minutes away from like downtown Ottawa or like the Ottawa core. We have, 5 acres of property. It's really, really, really quiet, which is the main thing we were looking for. I did like where we were before, but it was noisy and there was no privacy. So now, I don't know, there's something about this slower pace that I'm doing really well in and really enjoying. But more than anything, it's privacy that I'm enjoying the most. And I didn't really realize how much I needed it. So, obviously I wanted to have an in-house studio where I could make my videos and not have to, move around, rent, lug my equipment, all that kind of stuff. And I have that. I mean, I love my yoga space so much. It's helped me be more consistent in my practice. I just feel more comfortable in that space. And it's kind of at the opposite end of the house. Like my loft, the yoga room is right above the garage. So it's far away. It's secluded. I don't know. There's just something about like being in my own space. Like I'm the only one who ever goes in there. It's super private. I can do whatever I want with it. It feels really liberating and I'm excited to be able to make my own, to do what I want with it really. So I've been practicing a lot more. I've been meditating a lot more and I've also been able to film a lot more. So in that respect, it's gone really well. We're pretty much all settled furniture wise. We still have a few things that we're missing, but it's pretty much done. Luna is loving it. The pets love it. They get to go outside all the time and run around and it's not something I've talked about before, but Luna's she's a lovely dog, but she's also a very reactive dog. She does have some behavioral issues. She is a rescue and we've worked with trainers her whole life. And really the best thing for her is to now be in an environment where she doesn't have to be triggered all the time by other dogs and other things that kind of trigger her behavioral problems. So I don't know, it's like a big weight off of our shoulders. And it's really nice. Oh my God, like the stars, we can see all of the stars at night. It's just beautiful. The only downside is that the internet is a bit slow. So it's taking me forever to upload my videos now. But other than that, it's exactly what I want. I never want to move again. I think this is my forever home. So settling in really nice. Oh, this was a good question. What's on my windowsill in the yoga studio? Does it have personal meaning to you? So I'll show you guys, maybe I'll do a little montage, but in my yoga studio, I now have curtains a little bit, but I just put crystals along the edge of the window. Some of them are crystals that people have gifted me, so they do have some like meaning because they're a gift from a friend. Others I've just accumulated along the years. Some I don't remember how I got, but it's pretty much all the crystals that I have are right around that window, just because I thought it looked really pretty there. What does my husband do for a living? So that was a really popular question. My husband is a software engineer. He works for a private engineering company. We're really lucky since COVID, he's been able to work from home, and it doesn't look like that's going to go away anytime soon. So we both get to pretty much be at-home workers, which is really nice. And it's nice because we're not in each other's way at all. He has his own home office downstairs. I'm in my yoga loft upstairs. So it's just, I don't know, it's really nice. I love having us home together all the time. But yeah, he's a software engineer, so he does a lot of coding and a lot of stuff I don't understand. Are you still teaching? Can I come take a class in Ottawa? Okay, so this is kind of an update, I guess. I am no longer, at the moment, I am not teaching any in-person classes. And this was a decision I made kind of like, I made it as I was moving, and it was also a little bit, influenced by COVID as well. So when the lockdowns happened, at first we were doing in Ottawa, it was like reduced schedule, reduced class size. And I just said give my time slot to other teachers. I'm just going to focus on online. And now because we've moved away, I'm like 45 minutes or 40 minutes away from the studio where I used to teach at Elevate Yoga. And I don't know, with COVID, it just didn't really make sense for me to keep my in-person classes for the travel time. And also because it's just not really safe right now. Or at least it doesn't, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't really feel safe being in that environment. So I'm not teaching. I don't know if I'll go back to in-person classes. It kind of just depends how the world goes. And also if I were to teach again, I think I would try to find a studio that is more local to where I live now. So probably just like a smaller space. Sometimes I'll do events at my friend's yoga studio, Yoga Attic. That's where I got married as well. But other than that, I don't right now have any drop-in classes. Okay, this was an interesting one. Do you plan on getting pregnant one day? And how will this affect your channel? This has been the year of asking me every week if I'm pregnant. I'm not. Maybe I've just gained weight. We'll talk about that in the diet and exercise video of this coffee chat because there's a lot I have to say on this topic. I don't know. I mean, will I get pregnant one day? Maybe. I'm not sure if that's in my future. But if it is, and if that's something that I decide I want to try, and if that's even something that's possible for my body, I think I would just incorporate it into my channel and make some really cool prenatal yoga classes, postnatal yoga classes, maybe like mommy and me yoga classes. I get a lot of requests from people asking if I have prenatal yoga, and I've never done a certification in prenatal. That's not quite accurate. I've always had prenatal modules in all of the trainings that I've done. So my 200 hour, my 300 hour, there was always like a prenatal focused module, but I would like to do an actual dedicated prenatal certification course before I start offering on YouTube. And I think I would also want to experience pregnancy before I start offering those videos. There's no real reason for that. It's just like a personal preference. But yeah, that's probably all I would do is take a training and then start offering classes like this on YouTube. There are already wonderful ones. Every time people ask me, I always recommend Brett Larkin. She has amazing prenatal classes. Sarah Beth Yoga also has some great ones. And I think Leslie Fightmaster has some as well. So those would be my recommendations. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see if it's in my future and we'll just make it work somehow. Hopefully people won't unsubscribe when that happens. Stay tuned. We'll see. Do you have any problematic areas like the regular student? Injuries, issues, areas of your body that are tight and inflexible, etc.? Oh boy, do I ever. I might give the appearance that everything is like 100%, but no, I totally have problem areas in my body, just like every other human being on the planet, probably. One main issue, something like structurally that I've had since I was very little, I probably started to notice it at like 9 or 10 years old in ballet, is I have like a pretty severe-ish anterior pelvic tilt. So I have a lot of a sway in my lower back. So it's my hip flexors kind of pulling and tilting my pelvis forward, and it makes my hamstrings really tight, and it makes my low back way too flexible, like way more flexible than it should be. So that's been a problem. I had kind of fixed it. So maybe like 10 years ago, I really put effort into correcting this issue. I was doing a lot of like low lunges to stretch out my hip flexors and really working on core work, strengthening my abdominals so that I could not tuck my tailbone under, but try to keep a neutral pelvis alignment. And it definitely improved so much, like so much. And lately, I would say over the past 2 years, it was kind of something I took for granted and figured that I didn't have this issue anymore. And I've noticed when I look back at my videos, I noticed that the swaying in my back is getting a little bit worse because I haven't proactively been working on it. I just figured, oh, it's fixed, I'm good now. But that's not the case. My body still wants to get back to that default position. And now that is probably the main issue, and it triggers a bunch of other problems in my body. So the other two main issues I would say that I have is that my hamstrings are very tight and they're like short. And it's because they're already like, without even stretching, they're already being stretched because my pelvis is tilted forward. So it's very difficult for me to make any kind of lasting changes to my hamstrings and to actually like do the splits and things like that. Like there are some things that are just, my body just cannot do it. And it's because it's not about just working on the splits for me. It's about correcting the postural alignment first. And that takes a long time and a lot of dedicated effort. So yeah, hamstrings are really tough. And then the other issue that comes up, and that's triggered from the anterior pelvic tilt, is that my upper back is kind of locked up. I really don't have a lot of mobility in my upper back because my whole life, whenever we were doing back bends, like I grew up doing ballet and stuff like that, whenever I would go and like do a port de bras, like go into a back bend or something, it was just my lower back doing the work. If I do camel pose, even you can see it in some of my videos, when I'm doing camel pose, even though I'm trying so hard to make the motion come from my mid and upper back, it's almost always my lower back doing the brunt of the work. And I don't feel it. It doesn't feel painful to me. But because I've relied so much on my lower back over the last like 30 years of my life, my upper back is really stiff. So there's like, your body always tends to overcompensate for any kind of structural misalignment. So I have a structural misalignment in my lower back, which means that my upper back is compensating by getting really tense. And I also had a tear when I was like 18 in my upper back. So there's a lot of scar tissue there. And that means that I also don't have a lot of shoulder mobility. When I lift my arms up, my chest flares open, the ribs flare open. So I'm full of issues, guys. Like there are so many problems, but it's okay. Like it's totally normal. I give up on this illusion that like my body will be perfect always. And you know, we're always changing. We're always getting older. Our bodies are evolving. So even if I were to fix everything, it doesn't mean that it would stay fixed. Like you just have to greet your body the way it is and do the best you can and work on improving those issues. So for me, I'm definitely putting a lot more emphasis now on the anterior pelvic tilt because I've slacked off for the past 2 years. Let's see, do I have any other issues? No, those are probably the main ones. What would you do if you weren't a yoga teacher? You know, it's an interesting question. Like I was never the kind of person growing up who was able to identify one thing I wanted to do. I've always wanted freedom. It's a bit of like, I have a hard time doing the same thing for a long period of time. I get really bored. I need new challenges quite often. So I studied social work. I thought I was going to be a social worker. And then I was like, I knew I wouldn't want to do that for the rest of my life. And I didn't like the idea of being boxed in. And then I thought, okay, I'll be a speech therapist. And that's what I studied in university. And same thing happened there. I was like, it's really interesting. I can see myself doing this for 5 years, but I can't see myself doing this for 30 years. The only way I think I could have made that work is if I had opened my own practice, because I kind of like the entrepreneurial spirit and that side of business. Like I like being a business owner because that is super challenging and it's never the same. Like you're never really doing the same job year after year. That's also why I enjoy the work that I do. It's like, it's not just YouTube, right? Like would I be able to do YouTube alone for the rest of my life? Probably not. I would probably also get bored of this, but because I have like products that I can develop and courses that I can create, like it keeps me really motivated and engaged, and I'm able to, I don't know, be like stimulated and challenged in that way. So probably most likely, honestly, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would probably still be working at the City of Ottawa. So I started building my channel while I was like a full-time City of Ottawa employee. And while I wasn't like super passionate about my job itself there, what I really liked about working for the government is that you are, at least I was, really encouraged to move around. And it was almost like it's part of the culture. Like don't stay somewhere for more than 5 years. Like you're encouraged to go work in other departments, to take on a new role, like to really diversify your skill set. So I probably would have stayed at the city because there was opportunity for me there. Like even when I was there, my role changed so much over the 6 years that I was at the city. So I got to do a lot of different things. So I think I probably would still be there and just working in different departments, different capacities, just so I could learn new skills. I really don't like predictability that much. I don't really like the comfort zone and the security of knowing what I'm going to do every day. It makes me feel very trapped, very uncomfortable. I like risk and I like the unknown. So I kind of like the thrill of it, which is why this is so good for me, because nothing is guaranteed when you're online. And I kind of like it. So that's probably what I would do. What do you think about crystals? Do you believe in their energies? This is a really good question. So I said, on my window in my yoga studio, it's full of crystals. I have crystals all over the house. I'm always buying more. And do I believe that crystals have healing abilities? I don't know. I don't know. This is such a hard question to answer because I don't know if they really do anything, but it's almost like I'd rather live in a world where I can believe that they do. I don't know. I enjoy learning about them and learning about the aspects of each crystals and their attributes. I don't know, there's something about that mysticism and that esoteric quality that I really crave, and I love to learn about it and I love to collect it. But at the same time, I don't take it very seriously. Like if something's wrong with me, I'm going to go to a doctor. I'm not going to turn to a crystal. Now I might add a crystal along with the doctor just because, what's there to lose, right? But it's a really hard question. Hopefully my point is coming across where it's like, I do and I don't, I like to have them around. I like what they represent more than anything. I really like having deeper concepts that are very mental or that are very intangible. I like having a specific, concrete, physical representation of that concept. I'm very playful in the way that I approach it. And more than anything, I like to use it again as a physical representation of concepts that are very intangible. And truly, that's the same way I feel about chakras. Am I certain that chakras are real? No, I'm really not. But I really like having this tool that I can use where I can visualize an energetic center and it helps me connect to aspects of my life. And I'm able to do work in my life through this imagination, this visualization, and through this connection. And more often than not, I do get the results. So I will allow myself to explore it, to research it, to learn about it, but I don't take it so seriously that I let it govern my life. I stay very playful with it, and I use it as a tool. So just a tool out of many other tools that are available to us. Hopefully that clarifies and helps with that question a bit. What is your favorite book? That's very hard. I read a lot. In 2019, I gave myself the goal of reading 100 books in a year, which I did. I was very, very proud. So that was 2 books a week. It was a lot. Now I'm back to like reading without setting goals, but I read more than 1 book a week. So I think this year I'm already at like 55 books or something like that. But I read a lot. I love to read. And so finding a favorite book is tough. I think it's like, because I love so many different genres, like genres or types of books, there's a lot that I really like. So it's tough. But if I had to pick like one book and it's the only book I can read for the rest of my life, and like I have to die with that book, it would probably be Wuthering Heights. I think Wuthering Heights is the book I have read the most. Ooh, I don't know. I'm doubting myself now, like, because maybe Harry Potter is what I would choose. Okay, I don't know, but let's just go with Wuthering Heights. I've read it many, many, many times. I still cry every time I read that book. I recently watched the old movie. I think it's from like 1940, bawled my little eyes out. It's a beautiful, beautiful novel, so I really like it. But yeah, I love books. I love reading, so it's very hard to choose. What is your secret to flawless skin? I love this question. Thank you. Very flattering. So I do not have flawless skin, okay? In fact, I would say that like growing up, I did have flawless skin. I was that very lucky teenager who never had acne. I would get like 1 pimple around the time of my cycle. And other than that, it was like super clear skin. But now at around like 27 or 28, I actually started to get adult acne. It's pretty much under control now. But I do get breakouts in ways that I never had, even as a teenager, which is just so unfair because you think like getting older is when you'd be in the clear, but I don't know, something is not working out. And I've done all the tests, all the hormonal tests. I've cut out alcohol. I've cut out dairy. I've cut out sugar. Like for 1.5 years, I took supplements. Anyway, whatever. It's just sometimes my skin just wants to do whatever it wants to do. I'm not sure what the trigger is, but I mostly have it under control now. I don't know, secret to flawless skin. I do not use foundation. I've never used foundation. I just use concealer and I do spot concealing. And I am pretty diligent with my skincare routine. So I like to use vitamin C, hyaluronic acid. I use retinols and then I have like a thick CeraVe moisturizer at night. And then I use like a Neutrogena with SPF moisturizer during the day. I find less is more, so very, very gentle products, but thank you very much. It's probably just makeup that you're seeing that makes you believe it's flawless, or like an Instagram filter, you know, those make everything look better, but thank you. I feel a lot better from that question. Okay, last one. Who is your favorite fictional character? This was another one that was really hard because I consume a lot of television. I love television, and I also read a lot of books. So I'm trying to think. I'm slightly obsessed with Mad Men. So maybe Don Draper would be a favorite character, not because like I actually like him, that character necessarily, but because it was a really unique character. Like it was one of the first like anti-heroes that we saw on television, and there was really great character development. I just think they did a really good job with his character. So let's go with Don Draper, but I'm sure as soon as I stop recording this, I'm going to be like, oh, why did you say that? Why didn't you think of X, Y, or Z? But if I think of it in editing, I'll just like put it on the screen somewhere. But that was it. That was the personal question coffee chat. Thank you to everyone who submitted your questions. This was really fun to do. And next up, we're going to do a coffee chat that is yoga focused. So all of your yoga questions answered. I'm going to release one a week for the next 4 weeks. So stay tuned for that one. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe. I put new videos out every single week and would love to have you practicing with me on a regular basis. Thank you again. Talk soon.